Hi everyone, I am Zeiss, and on this channel I turn you into an RPG master. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to smash the subscribe button and keep in touch. Now, one of the builds I'm following since pre-season, before the seasons, is the Blood Artisan Necromancer. So in this video we're gonna find out what makes it even greater in Diablo 4 2.0 PTR and Season 6. Getting there. It can do this. It can also do this. So that's how we break the shadow bolts. Just stagger her. Oh, I staggered her. She can't continue the pace, bro. What the fuck? Oh, I staggered her again. I staggered her again now. I broke her, no shadow bolts, so I guess we're good. And it can also do that. So do I get a reward now or something? What am I getting? Okay, so let's cover my gear choices for the PTR and what I will be looking for on Season of Hardcore. Sorry, I don't do softcore, that's for the noobs. So here we go, we have a Shaco with cooldown. This armor GA is not required, you can cap it in other means. Socket with topazes for intelligence. The build enabling Blood Artisan chest piece. Unfortunately, it's not ancestral, but it's probably gonna be not so hard to get on Season of Hardcore. But if we get it, we're probably gonna masterwork Bone Spirit to get it to 8. The important thing is to pick 3 Blood Orbs for the 3 Bone Spirit, and I'm using here Zan and Yum for Transcendent Reclamation. When cast ultimate 4 times, evoke the Druid's Petrify. Okay, moving on to the gloves. Life attack speed GA is a must here, plus 2 core skills. Lucky chance to stun, to basically play ping pong with the mobs, with corpse tendrils, and to stagger the bosses a lot. Critical strike damage, but the better thing would be bone critical strike damage. Gore kills is the other build enabling thing, because since Season 4, if you didn't know for some reason, if you lived in a cave maybe, Gore Kills consumes the Blood Orbs, so we no longer have to walk through the Blood Orbs to activate the Blood Artisan's power, unique power. Moving on to the pants, now this is a hardcore version, so we're using Prudent Heart with pants which have intelligence, armor and resistance to all elements, because the build obviously not using Tyrael Smite, which probably everyone is using. The rune word here is comprised from the runes Yul Om, which results in progelistic call to arms. When cast a skill with cooldown, that's basically pretty much everything we do besides the Grapefire and Blood Lance. So we get here the Barbarian's Enhanced War Cry. Okay. The chance to stun is actually one of the things to hit here, and possibly the intelligence, because the resistances could be also capped otherwise. I picked this just to see how much it will overcap when we play Infernal Hordes, so we do not have to worry about the thing which reduces your resistance there. So you can actually use an incense on your choice. Moving on to the boots of Metamorphosis. Life, really important. If I remove it, it decreases like 2k life, so you get the idea how important the life affix is. Movement speed, preferably GA. If GA, we can tamper evade cooldown reduction. If not, tamper movement speed. Points to Bone Spirit, obviously. Corpse Tendril Sights, it has to go on one of the gear pieces which are legendary. And Metamorphosis to kamikaze our way into the enemies through the Blood Orbs when not casting the combo, right? Doombringer with maximum life tampering and one-time all stats, masterworking, I mean, to get the Paragon board additional bonuses. Socket with Emerald, because we do not care about the overpowered damage. Why we do not care about the overpowered damage is we're doing so many attacks constantly, so it's pretty hard to make the bone spirit itself overpower, because sometimes the lance overpowers, sometimes the wave overpowers, and we don't necessarily care about their damage, we use them as utility. The amulet is a bit GG. On live retail it might cost you like a billion and a half to get it right, and some 10,000 abstruse sigils, but that's manageable. That's how it usually goes. But if you can't find something like this, the good thing to use is life, attack speed, GA, and evolution, right? Tamper here, bone critical strike damage, bone spirit, explosion size. Explosion size is really important when dealing with mobs. Ossified essence buff here from the aspect of serration, but if we get the attack speed, we can use the Ratma's chosen aspect to get to the attack speed cap, which is 197.5%. And together with the upgrade of Lance to increase its attack speed when we hit a boss or at least two enemies, that's how it works, because the attack speed is capped at 100%, and those are the things which can make it go beyond that. Anyway, socket with diamonds for resistances. Moving on to the ring, which is Starless Skies, it has to have at least the attack speed GA, but if not, we can get it the attack speed from other sources. The goal here is, when we overpower, right, to get to this point, 2.39 attacks per second, and this is also achieved with the Elixir of Advantage. Okay, moving on to the other ring, life, a lot of it, really important. Attack speed GA, so we don't have to masterwork it. Lucky hit chance to make enemies vulnerable, so we do not have to solely rely on Corpse Tendrils. And Bone Prison to make enemies vulnerable. Bone damage here, but it's also okay to hit the critical strike damage or critical strike damage with bone, like bone critical strike damage, like I have on the amulet. Ultimate cooldown reduction, that's the thing we wanna get here as the other tamper, and the aspect is still gonna be fast blood for the ultimate cooldown. Okay, moving on to the focus, which has the tidal aspect. Same thing, the most important thing to have it on the focus is chance for Bone Spirit to deal double damage. Now, if we are on live retail, we should not masterwork critical strike chance, because it will be enough. I will get to Y when I get to the skill tree and the Paragon board. Socket with Temer again, like I said, we do not care about the overpowered damage, because it's really hard to make the Bone Spirit overpower in particular. Now, another thing I want to see on this build is if it works with phasing Poltergeist aspect. Currently it does not, so that could be a thing to use on the other ring, if it's a legendary ring, if we don't have the Starless Skies yet, but make sure to have like life, attack speed and crit chance on it. So, Book of the Dead, it's the same. Skirmishers, it's just 10 here, but should be 15 on life. So that's why we do not care about the critical strike chance on the glove or having to masterwork it on the focus, okay? This remains the same, increase damage to vulnerable enemies, because we're gonna use exploit glyph. And because of essence glyph, and because that's one of the things we care the most, the critical strike damage, is gonna be sacrificing the iron golem, pretty much the same. Let's go to the skill tree now. Any basic skill that on your preference. The thing to use Blood Lance as utility here for attack speed and to consume the blood orbs, and that's why we also get this upgrade for attack speed, right? Not the one with the damage, we do not care about this one. The good thing is they moved enhanced Blood Lance, they swapped the effects of those two, so now we're gonna get even more blood orbs. Okay, this is Hewitt Flesh, imperfectly balanced, blood mist with dreadful blood mist. We might not actually use this if we get the critical strike chance to 80. Here we have Necrotic Fortitude, that's really important because we attack very fast and we have Perma Barrier, that's why we're not using Temerity here. Titan's Fall, more damage. Bomb Prison, because of the Shaco, I didn't get any points to it, but if you don't have the Shaco yet, this one and this one at least are the must-haves. Or just 1 point on the Bomb Prison itself. Death's Embrace, that's because we can use Metamorphosis to kamikaze our way into the enemies and pick even more Blood Orbs to finish them off faster. Not using Death's Approach, but if the cooldown is okay, you can reduce the points of Blood Wave and use that. But movement speed should be like 165, make sure to get to that. Basically, good movement speed is when you walk over a trap and just keep walking, running, and when it triggers, it doesn't hit you. That's when you have good movement speed. Same applies for Echo of Lilith, second phase, Shadow Bolts, if you happen to not stagger her, so she actually does that. Amplified damage, Decrepify, with Abhorrent Decrepify, that's something really important to keep the cooldowns of Prison and Tendrils all the time. Doesn't matter much for the wave because it's spammable basically, but this is how we're gonna trigger one of the Rune Ward effects by also spamming Tendrils and Prison, and it's also how we're gonna play ping pong with groups of enemies, right? So that's a really important thing to get. Corpse Tendrils with Plague Corpse Tendrils, not using Blighted Corpse Tendrils because we make so many Blood Orbs we can't even consume them all, so that's why we are not using Transfusion. 1 point to Necrotic Carapace because it's actually gonna be enough. Max out Bone Spirit and Enhanced Bone Spirit 1 point, and Ghastly Bone Spirit is where things get interesting because it's 10 more critical strike chance and we only care about the damage of the Bone Spirit. And because of this one, and because of Serration, and because of Entombed on the Bone Graft board, we only care to make the critical strike chance up to like between 70 and 80. If it's 70, use Blood Mist more often to get the 10. If not, just use it to save yourself, I guess, or move around when you don't have Metamorphosis charges. 1 point here, which helps for the Bone Prison cooldown a lot. Those are the most important ones, Evotion and Compound Fracture. Especially Evotion, Compound Fracture has to wait for 10 spirits to hit. Couple of points here on Blood Wave for the cooldown to be good, but if we get the cooldowns right, we can just use 1 point. That's the thing. Both upgrades, it's more Blood Orbs now, so it's really powerful. Finality for even more damage, spam the ultimate skill anyway. Memento Mori, we don't use minions, and that's why I also care about standalone, because Bone Prison again is no longer counted as minions, so it doesn't reduce the damage reduction. Also getting Inspiring Leader as much as needed for the crit chance to get it to 70, 80. Just make sure your Bone Spirit crits all the time, otherwise you're gonna suffer because we're stacking critical strike damage mostly here and vulnerable damage. And of course, Ossified Essence to boost the spirit's damage. Moving on to the Paragon board. On the first board I'm using Corporeal. On the second board I'm using Essence. Already explained why I'm not using Bloodbath. We should be able to get to these a bit later, but moving on to the next board, which is Scent of Death, and I'm using here Sacrificial. The thing to get next is this damage reduction here from vulnerable enemies and also the life nodes. Moving on to the next board, which is Control, using Control Glyph on Blood Begets Blood. Really important to get those things to even further increase the damage. The other important thing to get here is this life, right? Life, life, life. Where is it? Life, more life. If we rotate this board 180 degrees, it actually might be better, but I do not have all the Paragon points right now. I have to grind them from scratch on softcore PTR because I never played it, basically. I don't have the softcore stuff. The next board is Bone Graft, the last one. Unfortunately, we can use only 5, and I'm using Exploit here because it has a lot of dexterity to get bonuses from. Also the life nodes, and we're getting to Bone Graft itself. Nothing more to pick up here. This essence thing, it is kinda useless, so the other points should go here, 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 maybe here, at least this one. Here, 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 and here, and it should be enough. I already tried. So I also made a planner on Maxrow. I will link it in the description, but what I noticed that it's not accurate at all, but some of you asked for a planner, so there is gonna be a planner linked in the description. I hope I was fast enough to explain how I decided to change this build on PTR and on the next season, so hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try to reply as soon as possible. Not much more to add here, so I guess I'll see you in the next live stream or video. Zeiss out, take care.